New episodes, I can't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, clocked in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like
What
life.
is good, guys? How is everyone doing today? We are back, the AoA, the Apostles of Anime podcast. I am your host, Ian, along with Isaiah.
Hello.
And Gavin.
What's going on?
As always, the homies. And today we wanted to do kind of something special, being that the Christmas is right around the corner at the time of recording. It's currently a Sunday. Christmas is on Wednesday. And
when this episode will go out.
Exactly. Perfect. So. Yeah. So Merry Christmas, by the way, to anyone listening to this. And Happy New Year. And that's the thing that we really want to talk about, because with the spirit, it was kind of tough, right? Because Isaiah brought this up to me and he's like, I wanted to do something festive at first, right? To get into Christmas. And like, there are some things I guess you could do with anime, but like, I don't know. It was a little tough to
It's
pull.
not
to
a
pull
big
through.
holiday that's
yeah, it's not really a
with
big
anime
thing.
It's
It's
like
like,
The holiday of giving.
no.
We are going to
With
be
it,
giving them content.
Gavin, I could give my foot going up your
And
ass.
after we're done, we need to give the children the candy out of the back of our van.
anyway,
That has labels that say AoA podcast.
Gavin, I'd appreciate it if you don't talk about our pedophilic plans on
that we
air.
don't have. Jesus Christ!
Totally.
Oh my God!
5 o'clock.
You guys are fucking wild. Anyway, Christmas was off the table, okay? The Grinch stole it. It's fucking done. We're not doing a Christmas episode, kick rocks. But what we do want to do is, because the new year is right around the corner, we were thinking, Isaiah brought up to me, he's like, I think we should talk about just like where we came from. And because we've been doing this for not a full year yet, like 2019 has been, a year that we've been doing this. Like, we should talk about from where we came and where we've come, and like some of our favorite moments, and like just kind of highlight reeling in our mind, like just kind of spit it as it comes and just talk about what we've done, and then talk about what the future holds for this podcast, because there's a lot of things in the works. For people that know and listen to us avidly, thank you, first of all, because you guys are awesome, and you folks are the ones that keep us going each and every day to do this, because for anyone who's familiar with content creation, podcasting, the whole nine, and if you want to do it quality, or if you really want to like touch the lives of others, it requires a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. Like the amount of times we meet, the things that we're putting in, the money that's invested, etc. People might say, oh yeah, it's easy, you just go and talk, but it's like there's a lot that goes into this. So seriously, a sincere thank you to anyone who's done that. And there's some exciting things that we have planned for the future. This what you'll realize is this year was just the start, you know what I mean? Like, we started from super, super humble beginnings, and we've incrementally tried to do things that we can to make this podcast and this channel and this viewing experience better for each and every one of you. And we're excited as to where it's going, and we hope that we could produce quality content from for the future and onward. But anyway, so we were just talking right before we recorded. Isaiah and I were kind of shooting the shit, because from our origin story, it was funny. Gavin wasn't on the podcast right away. Gavin was one of the new guys, and thank God you did come on, because Gavin has just been fucking awesome.
Right. Like, I mean, we'll get to that, but I think like if that didn't happen, again, there was a couple moments, I think, like in the making of this show, where I was like, if this doesn't fall into place, like, I don't think we're gonna swim. We're gonna sink. You know what I mean? And Gavin coming on was definitely one of those.
Added just a personality, a space to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If we're being frank.
Someone who had passion about it as well, and that was really awesome to get to that. But Isaiah and I were just talking about how we initially started, and just to give like a brief recap, it was funny for those that are interested. Isaiah, Gavin, and myself, I won't say where, but we may have said it before, but whatever. We all work in the same location. And that's really how we all met each other. And it was funny, but because before this podcast, we never really were able to bond, you know what I mean, on like such a high level. And so I'm thankful for that. And I remember I had the idea for an anime podcast a little bit before I even got to know Isaiah. Because Gavin, I had known of you, because we worked together longer, but I actually never had long form conversations with you. I had Isaiah and I formed like a bond before we did, even though we knew each other longer, because of that common interest, really, was to set it off. And Isaiah and I knew each other because I did real estate at the time, and Isaiah was dabbling, and he was thinking, and long story short, I have my license, but like I do referrals. Like, I'm not, whatever. It's not about that. But so we knew each other, and I had the idea to do this anime podcast a little while back. And I was like, you know, I was really heavy into anime, still am, obviously. And I'm like, fuck, man. I was like, I want to talk about this. Because, you know, my buddy Mike and I would talk about, like, how far we were in Naruto. And we're like, and I thought about it, and I was like, dude, it's all I talk about. It's like, I only talk about fucking anime now. When I see these people, I'm like, why am I not doing a podcast about this? But I'm like, who would do it? Where would I do it? Like, you know, it's all these, like, roadblocks, you know, that you make in your own mind, half of them, and then, you know, but some of them are realistic. And so, like, I thought of the idea, and I asked my buddy Mike a while back, and he was like, yeah, I'm down. But it was like both of us were kind of like in a half-ass thing, right? And then I remember Isaiah and I really got to bond because a buddy of mine, shout out Pete, convinced me to watch Naruto. And I really fucked with it. And Isaiah overheard one day me bitching about Sakura. I remember the exact thing. I'm like, I never met a character who's more fucking useless. And I did not know Isaiah's opinions on Sakura at the time, so I was going off.
And to be honest, I was like, all right, let's see if I can go clear the air here. Somebody seems to be lost in his ways.
Yeah, I'm not. But anyway, yeah. So Isaiah came up to me afterwards, and he's like, yo, that's really dope that you're fucking with Naruto. And he's like, I love that show, which for anyone who listens to us, we know that Isaiah does love that show. I mean, we all do. And so he showed me, he's got like a tattoo of Naruto's fucking the seal on like the chest or whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's hardcore. Like, you're into this. That's fucking dope. So he's like, yeah, let me know, like, as you come along with the show, what you think of it and stuff like that. And so
I remember this conversation, and I remember it was like a total like classic weeb meeting moment, because it was literally, I overheard you talking to Pete, and I was like, that nigga likes anime? And I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I listened to the conversation, I'm like, that nigga's watching Naruto? All right, I'll go over and see what's going on. And then I remember after I said that to you, I was like, yeah, let me know if, like, you know, what you think of the show. Like, I want to hear your thoughts. And I remember turning and walking away, and I go, God, I hope this nigga doesn't hate the show. Because that would be it.
And our friendship never would have started, so it's a good thing I liked it. Oh man, that shit was funny. But yeah, so he said that, and then, you know, I continued to watch it, and then I remember later on the idea resurfaced again, where I'm like, man, I want to have, because I finished Naruto, I'm pretty sure, and I'm like, okay, I really want to do like this anime podcast. It'd be really dope. And then all of a sudden it popped in my head. I'm like, who can I get though? And I'm like, Isaiah. I'm like, why wouldn't I get Isaiah? Like, Isaiah and I have been talking about anime now, like once in a while, like every time we meet. And we're developing this bond, and I'm like, I'm going to ask him. So I went up to you, and I was like, yo, like, weird thing. I was like, do you ever think about like doing a podcast about this, you know? And you, at first, like, you could tell your reaction better than I could, but like from what
I was skeptical, and like not skeptical from the I guess the point of view of like, I don't think it would work, right? I wasn't in. It was like a lot, you know what I mean? Like, because what I was like, you know, my bad habits, like I like when I hear things or I want to start something, I'm a very big like idea man. So that being said, it makes it hard for me to like commit to anything, because I'll like hear an idea or have an idea, and I'm like, oh fuck, but then you got to do this and X, Y, and Z, and it like, so you brought up the idea to me, and I was like, yeah, man, that sounds cool. Like, you know, but I was very like passive, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it. But when later that day we were working, and shout out to Lindsay, I had this conversation with her at work, and this conversation got, you know, semi deep, and it just sort of devolved into like, yo, if like we ever want to like do the shit that we want to do, like fuck prep, fuck, like, you know what I mean? You gotta like, you know what I mean? Just hit the ground running and like just put both feet in and just go. And so I literally that like same day, after that conversation, pretty much, I like almost sped walk right over back to you.
It was a couple days later that you came up to me. Yeah, because at first it was like whatever, and then I'm just like, okay, like think about it, you know, let me know. And like again, I was like, damn, I'd really like to do this, but like, you know, if he says no, like whatever. And I was like, he'll think about it, and we'll go from there. And I'm like, I'll re-ask my buddy Mike if he wants to do it. And he was like, yeah, but like a lot of the answers, to be honest, were half-assed. And even I wanted to do it, but I was like, all right, I'll find someone, and like maybe this will be a thing in the future. But then I guess you had that conversation, and Isaiah beelined it to me like a couple days later, like, and I knew he was serious. Like, he came up to me, and I'm like there, and I'm like, yo, what's up? And he's like, I want to do this. You know, like something along those lines. You were like, I want to do this podcast, like 110%. And like, I looked at him, and I knew he was like, I swear to God, in the time I've known you, I've never seen you look more serious in my entire life. And I was like, oh, he's dead serious right now. I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm like, perfect, because that's the passion. Because again, like, I was ready to just drop it till further notice too. Right. You know, it was just the idea, but like the fact that I could tell that you were like completely going to be committed to this. I could just tell in your eyes right there, reinvigorated me and motivated me, and was like, okay, yeah, we're doing this. And like I remember I literally in my mind was like, I can't let you down now, like because I knew that you wanted this, and I'm like, I just put hope in your eyes by saying let's do this, and now you're going to do it, and I can't back out now. So I'm like, we got to do this. So yeah, long story short, we made it happen, and Mike was along initially. Shout out Mike, because it was really awesome that Mike was able to lend us his space to work at first, and like Mike was very in on anime as well, and like it was really awesome working with him for the time that we did, and we had a lot of laughs for sure. But before Gavin came on board, and so yeah, but at first, man, when we first started, because Mike lived about 30 minutes away.
It's funny because when like back from that moment, it was like I remember being like, I'm in, like let's do this, and then you were like, all right, let's do this, and my immediate thought was like, how? I was like, all right, cool. What do we got? Like, what do we do? Yeah. And I remember the very early days of like it would be us at work, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make a list of everything I think we need or all the tools. Yeah. And I would at the beginning of the day, I'd come into work. Like Gavin and I in particular can work pretty early. We'll be in at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I remember coming in, I'm all jazzed up because I'm like, all right, make this list, you know what I mean? Like I'm hype, I'm like ready to, and by half the day in after I made the list, I would just be like, fuck, dude, like shit's expensive. Like it was quite frankly unhealthy because it was a lot of like building myself up and then just this letdown, and it just kept happening over and over.
Yeah, man.
Until there was a period of time where I was like, what's gonna happen with this?
And like you gotta understand, like Isaiah even kind of briefly mentioned it before, that he was like, I'm an idea man, right? And before really this whole deep dive into content creation, I was really the same way, right? I would like to consider myself now a man of action for sure, and like this has helped me grow as an individual in that like I take action on my ideas now. But until that point, and that's why I have to thank you so specifically, because you had so much conviction when you said it. That's really what made me like an action man now, right? Because before that, it really just was an idea, and I was like, I was willing to take it or leave it.
Oh yeah.
Anymore? No, like that's not how I am. And so, you have to understand as well, Isaiah, I don't know if you had dabbled in content creation stuff before that, but like, no, that's a shake no, by the way, for anyone watching. Me, never. Dude, I didn't even own a fucking computer until like almost a year ago, bro. I bought it myself. My family has never been up on technology. I am technology illiterate, and it's like funny for my age. Like I know some shit, but like I didn't even know the fucking first thing. I just was like, I know that I have a passion for this. I know Isaiah does, and I know that Mike does, and I'm like, I know that like we have personality so we could talk about it, but everything behind the scenes for anyone.
That's really like, it was a lot of like, all right, dude, 80% of this is going to have to bank on passion, and the other 20% is going to have to find its way in somehow.
I remember
but it's like,
that.
because we had a lot of tenacity, but very little know-how and very little tech. Like I remember, again, shout out to the boy Theo, who really was, to be honest, instrumental in the making of this show.
Fucking help, man.
Both when we started and when we got, I guess, a little more cemented in it when we brought Gavin on. But I remember him coming to Mike's place when we started this, and just going over to what I guess anybody who does editing, to him what was real fundamental shit, right? But he's like, all right, you just have to do this and be aware of this and this and this. And I literally remember sitting there and staring at him, and at some point, like straight up flipped to Charlie Brown. Everything he was saying just sounded like wah, 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 wah. And I was like,
dude, me too, 110%.
And it was like, dude, I can't.
I literally would have to tell Theo sometimes. I'm like, Theo, can you do it? And like, I would look at him and be like, fuck, I already forgot. And it was like, we were fucking dumb, for lack of a better term, dude. And like, Mike didn't have any experience in content creation, and so it's like, we were literally working this from the ground up, from underground up. You know what I mean? Like, these were kids who just had guys that had no experience in this whatsoever. We had no clue what to do. We just knew that we had a passion, and that's what made this awesome, really, frustrating, but awesome, to begin with. So like, I remember going over Mike's house, and because Mike, one of the big things is, where are we going to do this, right? Because I currently live with my family. Isaiah, lives with his, and it's like, we have siblings and shit going on, small houses, etc.
There's no ideal spots.
Yeah. Mike, fortunately, lives on his own, and was offering his spot, but he lived like 30 minutes away. Remember, we would drive there, my car would almost explode every time. We turned down this one road, and my car would start smoking every fucking time. I don't know why, dude. This road was like cursed. I swear to God. I'm like, what the fuck?
So yeah,
dude,
it was
it's
crazy. Literally, it would be completely quiet and fine, and we'd be having a talk. All of a sudden, you would turn on this one road, and then it would go from like a quiet like whistle to like
the car would be like rocking,
and like
dude.
all of a sudden we'd be in the middle of a conversation, and I'm like, yo, are we gonna die? Because it would be like violent. It would go literally from like a smooth timber to like.
Dude, like we were literally like I thought a wheel was gonna pop off, dude. It was so bad. I don't know why.
One time I think it literally smoked. Remember,
it
we had to
literally
pull into
smoked.
the
We had
Wawa
to
or something,
pull
and I
into
was
a fucking
like,
Wawa,
all right.
dude, because it was smoking out of the
Fuck,
hood. I'm
man.
like, what the fuck is happening? But we'd go over there, and it was a further drive for us, and we get there, and we basically just try and talk shop and like try and figure this out from the ground up. Like, okay, what do we need? What should we talk about? This, that, and the third. We would try and get Theo along when we could to help us, and so much shit that we just didn't know, dude. And it was like such a slow burn because like people who know this too, it's like a snowball effect, right? Because I think this next year is going to be leaps and bounds from where we were this year because it's like all the knowledge that we've gained now we're able to use to build momentum. But it's when you have nothing and you're starting from nothing, there is no momentum to build from. So like everything you do is like running into a fucking wall every time, dude.
No, and it's funny.
Like
I remember nights where like I would call you or you would call me and we'd be talking about the thing, and like I remember with as little experience and technical know-how as we had, I was like, dude, we just got to keep pushing. I was like, because I remember saying these words. I remember this doesn't go anywhere unless we move it. I was like, there is nothing here, right? Like there's no underground, let alone a foundational ground. Like we have to build literally every brick of this ourselves. And so if we don't have technical know-how, or we don't have, that's that much more passion.
Dude.
Like we have to move this thing. And
I know.
We did, you know what I mean? There was nights where I remember like thinking like, I don't think so. You know what I mean? But like the second, as fast as that thought would come in my head, is as fast as it would leave, and I'd be like, no, I gotta do. Then I have to move this that much harder or that much.
No,
you know
for
what I mean?
sure. And Isaiah and I had a very similar mindset in that, and I think we were a catalyst for each other, and I think that is something that's really crucial for anyone who debates on doing something like this or getting into something like. You have to surround yourself with people that that are not yes men and have that similar mindset where they're willing to push, because it was like when Isaiah felt moments of doubt, like I was there to be like, yo, we can do this. And when I had moments of doubt, because I certainly did too, and I'd get really frustrated at times, Isaiah would be the one to pull me back in as well. So like having that person there was huge to where we are today and where we're going to be going, and that was awesome. I remember when we first started, bro, like our first episode we were going to do, it was Mike, Isaiah, and myself, and we were in Mike's house, and we were like, okay, let's do like an exposition. Like for anyone who's listened to our actual first episode, right, with Gavin and us, and it's exposition, it was kind of like that, right, where we were going to describe ourselves, but we didn't really know how to podcast even. Again, we just had a passion. That was it. Literally just a passion and an idea. We knew nothing, right? So we were studying podcasts to like figure it out. Like I dabbled, listened to Joe Rogan sometimes, Isaiah listened, whatever. We were trying to like see like how these people do it.
What's
and we're
the
like,
technique?
And we were like, dude, we can do this, you know? But it was like so many little things. So like at first, remember, we were like doing it in turns. Where it was like we weren't even like just having an organic conversation like this. I'd be like, so this is me and this is what I do. Gavin, would you like to describe what like you do? You know what I mean? And then like you'd say and be like, now we're gonna bring it back to Isaiah.
Our first episode of this show, there's a little remnants of that still. Like there's still a little bit of like that cookie cutter. Because I remember having a conversation with you here of being like, guys, I think this show we need to like talk over each other. Like I think we need to like loosen up a little bit.
I remember Theo telling us that.
Yes, and I think like that was I remember that. It was like, again, it's just crazy to think in like those fucking 10 months or whatever. It's like we were like fucking illiterate dumbass. You know what I mean? It was like we didn't even know how to talk. It was you know what it was? I think again, like one of the things that I learned through this, and I'm now again like I'm thankful that I picked this up and I've learned this from just doing this show with you guys, is like content is king. If you are somebody that wants to be a content creator or make content, or like even if you don't want to consistently make content and you just want to make something, like just get up and fucking do it. Like, because if you want to plan out every, if and or but and every, like, you're going to go crazy and you're never going to do it, because you're going to psych yourself out and you're going to say, oh, well, there's always this roadblock, or this thing's always going to get in the way, or I don't know if I'll be able to, like, you just have to do it. Put out whatever the fuck you think you can put out. If it's bare, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It can be shit. You shouldn't arguably be happy with the first thing you put out, especially if you're planning to consistently make stuff, because, like, how are you going to get better if you have nothing bad to learn from? So, like, and that was the thing. I remember, like, that was my fear in doing that first episode, but even when we started was, like, I was just so worried that it wasn't going to be up to par, and it took me a while to get over that hunch of, like, how the fuck is it? What is this going to be up to par with? We don't have anything, you know.
Yeah.
So it was very much like, yeah, crazy to think that we came from there. And again, now my mindset having changed much is I'm like, I'll think about how much I'm thinking about something or planning something. And I'm like, let's just do it. Fuck it.
Dude, I'm
You know
the
what I mean?
same way.
And
I'm
it's
the
like,
same
'cause
way.
Shit, you know, it'll get fixed later. It'll get
No,
better
for
as
sure.
we grow.
Yeah, it's like I think I saw like it was like a little excerpt thing, and it was someone being interviewed, and the interviewer asks, "How does one become successful?" And the guy goes, "The right choices." And the guy goes, he says something along the lines of like, "Oh yeah, how do you make the right choices?" He goes, "Experience." Then he goes, "How do you get experience?" He goes, "The wrong choices." And like the point is that like it just by doing this in repetition and stuff, you realize the things that are wrong, you know. And there's caveats to that. You could say like a fool learns from his own mistakes and a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And like again, it's like now that we're here, like I'm on, you know, we do other things as well, content creation. I'm on another podcast. I know Isaiah like dabbles with like A&B and stuff like that. Like you do realize like those new endeavors that we've picked up beyond this have astronomically like are such a leg up from like this, but like the point is that when we started this was like the first thing, you know what I mean, that like what we were doing, and it was like we didn't even understand what the mistakes meant or if they were mistakes from other people, and we just
I think in my mind I was like, if we fuck up, like I'm never gonna be able to do this again. I was like, if this doesn't, like, you know what I mean, if this doesn't at least kick up and get off the ground, like that's it for me. I'm gonna. And
I remember you just saying. I remember being in the car with you so many times, and you know, you saying things along the line of like, yeah, like I've always wanted, you know, like I'm so glad that we're doing this because it's like, you know, I've like it's got to work because like there's been so many times where it's like something's come up and then it didn't. I don't know. It's just surrounding yourself with those people and like and
no, that's what because as many people as you probably, if you're, you know, pursuing something like this, that you can find that will support you, I guarantee you there'll be twice as many that will tell you like don't waste your time or stop doing it, or you know what I mean. So and those people will come up, like I said, much more frequently than the ones that will support you. So yeah, it's definitely downright crucial that you know, find family, friends, I don't care. It could be the fucking homeless dude that lives down the street from your house. Somebody who is
on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Because he's homeless.
You know, find somebody who's fucking willing to be like, hey man, you can do this. You know what I mean? You need, like, cause you need it. You know, you absolutely will not get anywhere without it.
Yeah. And that's why I want to like kind of go. So long story short, eventually as you guys listen now, it's not Mike here, who, although we've referenced him a lot, and I thank him for all the things that he's done. You know, there was a point where that Mike realized that there were other things that, you know what I mean, that were pulling his attention. And Mike is a very busy man and basically manages like a team of people. Like, I'm not going to say where and what he does, but like the point is that he's kind of had to pull himself up by his bootstraps since he was a very young age. He was the one with his own home. Mm-hmm. He's been thrust into life. And so essentially like he's on this track, he's on a different path, you know what I mean? And that's fine. But he realized that it's like on the hierarchy of things that wanted to go, it was really more of a hobby. And like, that's cool. Like, by the way, like if you want to do these things, like whatever, but like Isaiah and I, it was more of like, no, this like has to work because this is what we want to do eventually in like our careers, like it's content creation, podcasting, making money through that, streaming, whatever. So like, you know, we basically, it was kind of a hard talk, but it was like, we basically had to come to the conclusion that we put all the cards on the table, and that Mike, you know, was no longer with us because it was like he and us, we had an agreement where it was like, listen, like if this can't be priority numero like uno, you know what I mean, or at least top 3, you know what I'm saying? It's like we gotta move on because nothing was getting done, right? It was like we'd meet like once a month, you know, because we just couldn't. And like you
mentioned before, it's like he lived so far away that it was like if we didn't have something, it like became such a hindrance to like make sure that we got it right and that we got it right when we met, because if we didn't get it right when we meet, we wouldn't meet for another month.
I think one day I forgot my laptop or something like that, and
it was like a literal like plug, like a cable,
like a cord,
and it was like,
and the whole thing was
dude.
off. Like we couldn't do it that day, and it was like this once a week thing, and then it'd be like, okay, the week's starting again, we have work, and you know, and all that kind of shit. So it was like it just wasn't moving fast enough at all, and you know,
and I ultimately appreciate him more for having that conversation and coming to the conclusion we did, as opposed to being like, no, let's still try to make it work, and then ultimately dragging this down, right, or pushing this more onto the back burner, than being like, no, I get it. Like if this has to go away, you know,
for sure, and much respect for that. So eventually we broke ties, and Isaiah and I were
We found ourselves with a very similar and real problem, which was where the fuck are we gonna do this?
Because Isaiah and I were still gung ho as fuck to do it, and then but it was really like, okay, so what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
and
we even had and we had this talk I think a little bit after we brought Gavin on, but before we actually found Gavin, or knew that he wanted to do this, we had talks of like doing this over Discord, right? Because we were just like, fuck it, dude, if we can't meet, like, you know, like, and again, like, I don't want to overstate like how important I think this is, like, to doing this kind of stuff, but like you have to want to do this, because there will literally be, especially when you're starting out, there are days when you have nothing else but passion, right? You have no know-how, you have no money, you have no idea, like you have nothing but this like will that you want to do it, and like that literally is enough. That will get you through those really fucking dark days to where you can get to like a somewhat bright day to where you can pick your shit up and fucking get going. But like, when we literally didn't have a place or a plan, what kept this shit alive was that like I still want to do this, like 100%.
Yeah, exactly. We had our little bit of roots at that point. You know, we were able to purchase our mics, you know, and like the very basic technology that we knew we needed. We were able to like rig some software, you know. It was like, well, it wasn't really rigged. It was like the free Audacity, right? Jeez Louise.
Yeah, which is like the poster boy, I feel like, for anybody starting out with anything audio. It's like, get Audacity. And it's like, then once you do it long enough, you're like, oh, this is actual garbage.
Yeah, right? And remember, Theo would always be like, dude, this is hard for me to teach you because it's so bad. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what the fuck is so like different about this, Theo? And then you get the new shit and you're like, oh, I got it. Okay, I understand now. He's dealing with literal plebeians. That's why. So, dude, it's rough. It's humble beginnings, man. But when we learned that all by fucking, I remember I was reading over a manual once online because I was like, I bought a book. I literally bought a fucking book, How to Podcast for Dummies.
Dude,
like,
I can't tell you, how many fucking, I'd go home and how many tabs I'd left open on my computer that were all like, how to start a podcast. What equipment you need for a podcast? How to start a podcast if you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, how many, and I'm just reading through all these things, and like, to my own detriment, I'd like read through a paragraph on each one and be like, all right, now I'm depressed. like it was like so fucking,
man, a lot.
Overwhelming.
So,
but,
you know,
it's funny because I don't remember exactly how it started, but I remember being in the car with you one day. We were going to like get something to eat, and I was talking to you about the podcast, because you brought up, you're like, hey man, how's the podcast going? And I was like, well, okay, I was like, to be honest, it's not great, but I was like, because I was telling you, we just decided that like Mike wasn't going to be a part of it. And all I remember is we were talking and I said that, and you were like, and there was like a pause, and he was like, so did you guys like find somebody else? And like, you didn't say anything and we didn't say anything then, but like in my mind, I was like,
because I remember, because then Gavin had a conversation with me.
So that, we had that conversation. I
remember we were getting pho for the first time, remember?
Oh, yes. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that, and you were like, did you find somebody else? And I was like, no, we're still looking, and we left it there. Yeah. And then I remember you guys.
Because at this point, too, Gavin and Isaiah, in their job code, they're together more. Like, I'm separated from these two guys.
What's fun? Yeah, because I knew Isaiah and I both.
Yeah.
About the same time, but like I knew you separate. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Like Isaiah and I had a thing, and Gavin and I knew each other, but like I never talked to Gavin like that, like at all, really. Yeah. And I remember you came up one day and you had asked me again, I guess after this conversation with Isaiah, like, how's it going? And I'm like, it's going. You know, and I was like, it's just tough because it's like trying to find people with like the passion, that will do it, and blah blah blah. And long story short, Gavin was like, hey, like I can do it, and I was like, oh, I was like. Okay, because the conversation before that was very like standard shit. Like Gavin for people that are acquaintances and not friends, right? Yeah. But Gavin came up and like, how's it going, buddy? Like, how'd it go today? Like, like very generalized shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like we're just BSing, and then like he just took the time to ask, and I was like, yeah, like unfortunately, our one friend can't do it anymore, blah blah. And we're like kind of just in this mode where we can't find anywhere. And he's like, well, I have a place. Like, I want to be on. I'm like, do you like anime like that? And he's like, yeah, dude, like I'm really about it. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I remember I got really serious with you, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually really considering that. And I was like, you have to tell me though. I'm like, if you do this, and I know we like literally kind of just met in a weird way. You know what I mean? I was like, in like a real way. You know what I mean? Like, this is real now. I'm like, are you telling me that you're going to put like almost everything else secondary? Because I'm like, that is the biggest thing. I was like, I don't want to do, I was really blunt with you. I was like, I don't want to do this with someone who's who's not going to prioritize this like at the top of the totem pole.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, then no,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Gavin's like, no, like, and like Gavin throws me off because he's like, no, yeah, I'll do. You know what I mean? Like, he just says that, and I'm like, did he understand what I just said? Like, I don't want you hanging out with anyone. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, we're just
I'm going to be your fucking parent.
So for anybody that knows me, I'm the most nonchalant person that there is.
Yeah, it threw me off.
Even then, like, I'm actually serious, and I'm more of a behind-the-scenes guy. Like, you talk to me, I'm just like, hi, I'm here. Like, get away from me. And then I go and I do my things behind the scenes, and I'm like, ooh. And then you're like, wait, you actually did that? I'm like, yeah, kind of. Like, I don't.
Yeah, it's weird because it's almost like, and not to sound bad, but it's like you won't hear any of the passion in Gavin's like voice, like when he says stuff, or not when he said, but like when with stuff like that, right? Like when I came to you, I made it very clear that like I wanted to do this.
And your facial expression,
like
you showed it on your body.
To death, there wasn't going to be anything that like made me not do it. Yeah. But like Gavin will tell you yes with the same conviction of like you ask him what sandwich he wants from Wawa. but like what's important is like Gavin is and again I think this does harken back to important lessons we learned from this. Gavin is definitely a man of action. Mm-hmm. While you may not hear it in the things he says, he'll just start doing shit, right? And like he'll like in the things that he does, make it very clear that he was like,
a lot of
he's actually about
like,
this.
You don't realize how much just time is not in a day that you need.
Yeah.
Like you don't realize until you start like biting off more that you could chew that you're like, wow, it's either you're sacrificing sleep or just one of the million priorities that every human being has to survive.
Pick your sacrifice. Pick your sacrifice because you have to always sacrifice something.
I can't tell you how many hours of sleep that I haven't gotten that I've just been staring at the fucking Premiere Pro screen, like because like
it's like anybody.
And granted, I suppose it would be a little easier for people who maybe had a background knowledge of some of this stuff beforehand, but for people listening who may not know, I don't know. I didn't know how to do anything that I know how to do now when we started. Yeah. I had to learn everything that I've done. I had to learn to do before I could do it. So it was like doubling the amount of time it would take to get anything done because I would have to learn how to do it and then do it and like
I remember getting so frustrated because Theo would I would like bring something to Theo and be like, dude, like I can't figure this because I was doing Isaiah and I kind of do. Isaiah does a little more of the edit, like a lot more of the editing now because like he's like conformed like a comfort level with it and stuff. But like at first it was like pretty split. Yeah. Like you and I were doing it. And dude, I remember getting so fucking frustrated, dude, like staring at the computer, like trying to solve a math problem that no way on God's green earth you're gonna fucking solve at any point. Like you gotta cheat off the dude next to you. You know what I mean? Like, but the
dude next to you was like a senior in college, and so he's like, just do this, and you're like, I don't know what that means.
I've been in that situation in math class and in life a lot, where I'm just looking at it. And it's like it doesn't matter how long I stare at this, I'm not getting this. Like, what the fuck is gonna change, Ian? So I had that same thought. I'm looking at it, dude, just like, oh my god. Like I'd watch YouTube videos. And I'm like, Theo, can you please, like, what am I doing wrong? Zip, 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 do it. Like, in a second. So my point is that, like, Isaiah and I, not necessarily wasted because we were actively trying, but, like, everything took so much more fucking time. Like I said, this was from, you have to understand, dude, this was from zero. Zip. There was no snowball effect because there was no snowball to begin with. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There was no
snow. Yeah, it was fucking summer. You know what I mean? We were in sand, and it was like we're just trying to figure this out every fucking step of the way.
3 niggas making a snowball in July.
What mic? Just figuring out like the fucking mics, like the like the editing software, the fucking everything, dude. Like everything that you could think of. Like I said, I bought a fucking book, How to Podcast for Dummies.
At one point, we literally like because Ian and Isaiah we were using the same mic. It was like it was Samson brand, like G30, whatever it was. And at the time, we were like, yo, we can all have our own separate mics plugged into our own separate computers, and we can like somehow interface them to where they overlay over each other. Then we realized, oh, that's actually not how any of this works. Like, there's a reason, and it's literally there. We should be a poster card for there's a reason why this isn't how things are done, and we are the motherfuckers that went through and did it anyway. And we're like, yeah, there's really like you can't do this. Like,
talk about a waste of time.
We're sitting here with our mics, we're all recording, did an episode, and then as we literally you heard the echo from all three of us. I think each individual mic, and we're just like, what the fuck is this? Like,
so there's no. We are all very passionate motherfuckers. That's that is just a fact. But we're also 3 very stubborn motherfuckers. So I think what was to our downfall, we'd get together and do these meetings when we're just trying to like hash shit out, like technology wise, and figure out what works. And there would be so many times where I think either one of us or 2 of us or all 3 of us would be like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Now we'll make it work. Instead of just sitting down and being like, no, this like literally these 2 things don't exist together. They don't work. We need to like find another way.
Well,
we
there was
just
a
try to
problem.
like power through the way that doesn't.
Or just think of these
work.
like backwards fucking ways. So
Like, what if we plug in 9 computers to this monitor and then reroute that power?
Move the mics in this way, and then turn the gain down on his, and then like if our laptops are far, and it's like then if we do this and like cut audio in this spot, and it was like the most fucking roundabout shit ever.
There was a problem to that cause though, and that problem is that any easy fix that you want, or say quote unquote, was $500. They're like, oh yeah, you want to do this thing the easiest way possible? Just dump $1,000, and you're like, I have a penny, and you're like, all right, give me this dongle. We're fucking dongling a chain back over here.
I think that's a lesson too. I think that's a lesson that could be learned for people again. Like as you go on, like we're pretty dumb. You know what I mean? All three of us. So anyone listening who wants to do, you probably won't have as much problems as we did. I get punched in the face for fun and lift weights. You know what I mean? Like this was not my forte at all. But so you guys probably won't run into as many problems. That's why I'm that much more proud of us for being 3 stupid idiots, to really get into where we are. But yeah, you have to find a healthy balance between how much money, because money isn't everything, and money is actually very secondary. Like the content you put out has to be passion in it. There's just a reoccurring theme in this, and I think that's what really has helped and tailored our success. But you have to find a healthy balance between like how much are you willing to spend versus how much extra work and workarounds are you trying to put in because you don't want to spend the money.
And not only that, I'd say time is more the key factor than money, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's how much time even if you're spending money and you're buying shit, you need the time to learn how to use the shit.
Yeah. And not only that, like if there's technology that will shorten the time, but it's like, are you going to buy it? And you're like, well, I don't have the money, but it's like, think of how much time you waste. So it's like balancing that out, you know what I mean, is a big part. And that's, again, a lot of the future things that we have planned is like, spending more money.
but then again, we'll also have more time. Like we've been at a really shitty spot, like just at work and everything.
I feel like now we're finally, and that's why like I am really excited for next year getting into this, is because like I feel like we are now at a place where we have enough experience and knowledge to accurately decipher through and judge like what are the things we can buy that we need, what are the things that we could buy that we don't necessarily, you know what I mean? Like, and what are the things exactly? So it's like, while I know we're going to be spending significantly more money in the future, I know it's not going to be a waste of time. And that's my big thing, is anything that we put into this in the future, I want to know, like, it can go into this shit tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, the next day. Like, everything that we are getting is now just sort of going to just tumble into this, you know what I mean? Into this thing, for lack of a better term. Which feels good, you know what I mean? Because there were times, again, to reference when we started earlier, we'd buy something and I'm like, all right, what the fuck is this thing now? What does it do? Like, why are we even, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was just not knowing. I had such a lack of knowledge in what the fuck, like technical side to what the fuck we were doing, that it's like now I'm much more confident in like my knowledge of this, and you know what I mean. So to be able to go out and be like, all right, this is what we need to do. We need this, or we, But yeah, like you said, but also like money isn't everything. So like knowing when we can cut corners, or when things aren't absolutely essential to get. It's all. I mean, because and we'll get into this in a little bit, but like there were definitely times where I think once we got into this setup, we sort of jumped the gun and tried things that for various reasons and multiple variables that weren't always, it just wouldn't work, didn't work. Whether it be like we started streaming for a little bit. We tried like video with like with the show for the episodes that go out on YouTube. Just like a whole bunch of little things that like some things really worked, some things really didn't. And I think again, there is no better teacher than failure though, right? Because like those things that didn't work, we realized and learned of those things, what are the things that we want to do and like keep, and so what are what we have to fine tune that we can do those things, and what are the things that like maybe just aren't a priority right now and we don't want to do. Because that, there were times where like, we do that streaming stuff and like it wouldn't work, or it would be like such a hassle to get going that I would be like, I'd leave like I'd be like
defeated.
That was such a
lot of sporadic trips to Best Buy.
Yeah.
We'd be like fucking we need that fucking cable, or like something stupid where it's like, oh, we just have to fuck, and you know what I mean? The whole day is like us going there and then coming back and realize we needed something else, and it's like just trying to glean information from all these people and, you know, all their different perspectives. And that is something, though, that we want to get back into just in the future is having, like, video content. Just in general. We've been working on that with our reaction videos that we haven't posted just yet. But I'm excited to do that. Our most popular video by a long shot right now is our reaction video to Demon Slayer. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But, you know, like doing things like that, incorporating video is one thing that we've been asked a lot, and that we're like, dude, we are definitely, like, it is in the works. So that is something I'm excited about, and potentially maybe streaming in some facet. But yeah, man. So Gavin came on. You know, it's really kind of the rest is history. There's some like fun moments that happen. You guys have kind of lived through a good amount of them through our podcast at that point. You know, like the first day Gavin brought us out here, I'll never forget. And I said it in our first episode where Gavin's like, yeah, like my basement is kind of small, you know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, this is bigger than my fucking house. Like, dead ass, this is like the size of my house.
Yeah. It's just a waste of space that has bothered me.
It's great. It's
a great waste of space.
So, it's been fucking awesome. And Gavin has just added such a different dynamic to this, which I've just really loved, because it's like, for anyone who's obviously listened to us through, there's been times where, like, you know, I'm an idiot. And you know what I mean? I'm very passionate, again, about some of the things I do. So, like, I'll be like, Gavin perplexes the living shit out of me sometimes, and probably vice versa.
I'm the living wild card.
Yeah, so I'm just like, what the fuck? But, like, it's cool because, like, we have differences in opinion. We've been complimented on that a lot by people who have avidly listened to this show, where it's like, I like that all of you, for a good, like, not everything, but you guys have differing perspectives on some things, where it's not so black and white, and we can, like, come to a middle ground on a lot, but it's definitely helped our cause in that we're all just not yes-menning each other for the most part. So that's been really awesome, and it's been a fucking pleasure to have him on as well, and just all of you guys, obviously. But yeah, so that's been really cool, and like a lot of the rest is history. You know, from there, I guess just to quickly glean over some fun moments, and then anything else we want to say, just because time is essence too. I really have enjoyed our talks about when we're following a specific show, and like specifically when we did it with Attack on Titan. You know, when we decided to do that, we picked up the ball late, because a lot of this is ideas too, and like learning the market or learning what's popular. No, but that's like, because now that has evolved into like what we're doing with My Hero, and like what we'll arguably do with like other shows in the future. And like, again, to speak for ideas that like start in this weird middle mesh thing and like evolve into, you know, tweaked ideas that end up working, is like, dude, we didn't even realize, I'm thinking about it now, sorry to go back, but like I just realized that like we didn't even incorporate like a fucking thumbnail, dude, until like a while in. We were like, we just have the same thing every time, and it's like, for anyone who knows anything about YouTube, topic, title, thumbnail, or like, and it's specifically title and thumbnail are like the two T's that you need to follow. Like, and we just were just like, we'd throw the title, but it was like we just like throw the same graphic up every time. I remember, because I'll usually be the one that makes it. I remember the first video or episode rather that you like brought it up. It was our season review of One Punch Man season 2. Yep, I remember. And you were like, why? You were like, can we like put like a cool like graphic like in front of the video so that like people. This is how dumb we were. People were like, okay, boomer. You know what I mean? Saying this. And in my head, I go, oh yeah, you mean like a thumbnail? And you go, yeah. And I go, yeah, we could do that. And you were like, all right, why haven't we done it? And I was like, because I didn't think about it. It was like such a moment. That was hard because we were using like that free like photo editor, quote unquote, on like Microsoft. But just in general, so, like, it was just so fucking bland. It's like so funny because it's like people look at us now, and even our future selves now, or our present selves look at our past selves like, what are you, an idiot? Because it's like, especially like younger kids too, if they're listening to this, or people around the same age, it's like, it's hard to believe that we didn't even think of this shit. But like, seriously, I know I've said this, I sound like a broken record, but like zero, dude, like zero experience in like YouTube content creation, whole, like marketing, fucking to, nothing, like, making this stuff that nothing. I never even noticed that. I never even noticed that. It was like, oh yeah, like, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, dude, we need a thumbnail, and like these little stupid things. It was like we were learning from, because we just never took the time of day to do that, and it's just like, it's just funny. That just rang a bell to me. I like, that just because a lot of the Attack on Titan episodes didn't even have a thumbnail. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking of all the cool thumbnails we could have put now. You know what I mean? Like a Beast Titan whipping a rock, or like some shit with like Eren coming down, and I'm like, fucking so much missed opportunity. But anyway, you live and you learn. But yeah, I
No,
particularly enjoyed doing things like that. If I can name a highlight, I really enjoyed when we were all on watching The Promised Neverland. That one rings a bit. That one really strikes to me because it was like we were all on it at the same time, and it was like one of the first animes where we all got together and we're like, "This is fucking great." We are all in agreement that this is awesome. Having a lot of conversations about that. You know, where it's like where we thought it was going, and kind of going over that with you guys has been awesome. But yeah, those are I don't know about you guys, but I know there's
like are some of your favorite episodes, episodes that we've done that we've.
I'm not gonna lie, I really fucked with the Vinland Saga episode. That's just like a show that I really want to go back on because I just love talking about it because everything was like out of the ordinary, you know. Even I always think back of Thorkill and just like throwing logs and shit.
Oh, dude,
and you just go back and you're like, yeah, he's fucking throwing Lincoln logs. Like I don't know, it just like those random just episodes that you know aren't really the highlights. Like they were just the fun ones. You know, we'd come in, we'd be like, what the fuck are we doing? And it's just all right, shoot the shit, and you know whatever it came to, it's what we made. And like,
I think if not for because I also really enjoy like the ones where like with Attack on Titan and My Hero where it's like we pick a show and we just sort of like go like into it episode by episode. But the Halloween episode that we did I actually really fucked with, and not even so much because of like that it was Halloween, but I liked the idea behind that episode, which was just sort of rapid fire going through a bunch of anime that like, you know, happened that fit that theme, but also because like. So it's definitely something I want to integrate into the show like in the future, which is like finding a way to watch more anime and more anime under the context of something that I probably normally wouldn't watch or wouldn't click on, because that episode in particular, I had never seen any of the shows that I picked to watch, but B, probably never would have picked them if not for under like the stipulation that like they fit the theme of that episode. So that was really cool. And I remember like when we came in that day, we were really hyped, like to talk, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I'm never not hype, you know what I mean, to some degree to talk about anime. I love
But it was just
anime,
like something that we
but
never
it was like,
really
it was like that spark that you get when you watch something and you're like, oh, this is kind of fire, you know, that I had from watching those things. So like that's really that was a highlight.
We're gonna turn to the Slice of Life podcast.
Slice of Life podcast.
He is in the corner screaming JoJo and
no. That's what it's gonna be. The podcast will be all about Slice of Life anime, and then one day we'll put out an episode where Ian can talk about JoJo for half an hour.
Oh man, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, there's been so many highlights to go over.
You know, that, I mean, we did Anime NYC. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome. Just kind of the reaction video was a blast. Obviously, too. That was one of my, you know, because this isn't only a podcast. You know, this is, the channel is AoA. It's Apostles of Anime, and like, you know, we say the
absolutely. I think that's the podcast. The main thing to take away from here is that like I think while this started very obvious as a podcast, I think going in the future we definitely want to move more into like other kinds of content.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure, man. And you know, I'm curious to hear from, you know, because you've heard our story, so I'm curious to hear from the people that, you know, have been following us from the start, or like how you found us, what things that you liked, all that kind of stuff, because our following as of right now isn't, you know, all that big in the grand scheme of things. It's very very small, to be completely honest with you, but it's like we love what we do, and we love even impacting the lives of one person, you know what I mean, let alone as many as we have. And it always kind of warms my heart to hear people say that. It's like, hey, I've been listening to like every episode, or like you guys are great, or you've helped me in said situation. And it's like, no, dude, I only want this to grow, and I think it will. And I really do think that we are eventually going to, you know, hit a point where just it is the snowball effect between the people that are subscribed to what we do, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm excited to see where it goes. But you know, not to bore you guys to death, more gush stories. So I don't want to do that. So let us know. You know, I know some of you, not all of you. We've referenced YouTube a lot. I understand that not all of you are on YouTube. Like there's a lot of people that are iTunes, Spotify, etc. So if you can't comment or whatever the case is, we get it. You listen. You know, like do your thing. Keep listening, please. But stay tuned for other content. You know, via YouTube, because that is the spot. You know, and things like that. So keep in touch with that. But let us know. What you think in terms of, like I said, like how you came onto us, how long you've been listening, if you just found us, things that you liked, and you know, things that you would like to see incorporated in as far as other content's concerned, or like ideas and stuff like that, because we want to make this a group conversation. Anime is a very like niche thing that's it's growing, but it's a very niche thing, and like we understand that our fan base is very tailored specific, right? And it's like it's nice to hear.
If you guys are the ones listening, like we do this for people that are listening, right? So why not be a part of the process?
110%. It's 110%. We love that. You know what I mean? It just adds fuel to the fire. If you made it to the end of this episode,
it was always burning until the.
You get to hear that.
You get to hear that.
You're welcome.
Oh my fucking gosh, Gavin.
I'm reaching the delusional state of only 2 hours of sleep.
You haven't tapped out.
You're fucking nuts. If you made it to the end of this episode, comment Happy New Year. And to us, we're gonna make it some corny bullshit. We're just gonna make it so comment Happy New Year if you made it to the end of this episode, so we know who the true homies are. But beyond that, man, I'm really excited to where we're going. There's a lot of stuff in the works for you guys, and I couldn't be more excited to show it to all of you. So. Thank you so much again for everyone who's been with us so far on the ride, and I hope that you stick with us for years to come. So
I salute you.
I salute you.
Literally,
too.
I'm saluting you, so you better fucking enjoy it.
We'll catch you next time, guys.
Peace.
Bye.
Hey, folks, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss our new episodes.
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Apostles of Anime, where you can keep up with us and offer new ideas for the show.
You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, and more. Again, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys back next week talking about all things anime.
Find me in the leaf of the cloud, screaming out Bankai. We just some ghouls, though.